Working.
Yay!
Yay!
Are we live yet? Can you guys tell?
Yes,
look,
we just went live.
updated and Sir T-Sav is live. But
Yay!
I mean, I love that guy, but
We're live.
oh, we live too. Heyo!
Yeah.
Check out our new starting soon screen. Wouldn't it be great if there were any time left on like for us to watch this countdown and stuff?
Wouldn't it be
Yeah,
great
there
if
it
we were
is.
starting soon?
Yeah. Just try and imagine doing this, but for 10 minutes and with music in the background instead of me having hastily thrown it up.
Right now, I see a Samsung Galaxy ad. So.
Oh wow. Well,
Which is the kind of phone I have.
yeah, I actually got this ad for you because I know how much you care about the Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, you know how much I love being advertised about a product that I already own, so therefore the advertisement is superfluous.
Yeah, I know how much you're into that, so I got it for you.
Hey, you're using the idle animations.
I am, dude. We're using all the
They're so
animations. We got lots of animations.
Trevor, do you like how I made Zotz twiddling his toes?
Do. It's amazing. Is
It
he in
it
here?
is pretty top tier.
Four of us.
And Jeb dusting off his little hat,
Yep. Seeing Jeb without his hat for the first
What
time.
is Fox doing? Just sitting there,
kicking his
kneeling?
toes, like tapping his
Okay.
toes.
Yep.
Yep, he's just chilling,
Looks like his
he
boots
is
kind of blend in.
sulking.
sulking. Is that what he's doing?
He's doing the rogue sulk. He's got his arms crossed,
Hmm.
and he's just like thinking and doing the internal
Scheming.
Fox monologue.
I like the idea of the rogue sulk as a thing not specific to our campaign, but specific to all rogues. Like,
Oh, it's a class feature.
You know,
It's
the
part of
rogues,
5e.
the class feature.
His subclass is sulker.
A plus. A plus. And then when we start playing, it looks like, wait, what does it look like? So we introduce ourselves, right? And then the introduction scenes, we have.
Ooh, look at that transition.
Oh. He's got the vid.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Ooh, I like that transition. It finally came through for me.
Yeah, it's actually pretty impressive that he's able to repair a PC that literally exploded and yeah. Yeah, it was really. Some people may wonder, that's maybe why it exploded because you kept brimstone inside your PC. Oh, interesting.
You just have to deal with the smell.
Yeah.
You know, man, I have not done this in a while. I'm Wash. I play Jebediah Peppermint. He's a little mole folk, little gun wizard, and man, I'm super duper excited to see what happens tonight with this Rod of Seven Parts business. It seems really high stakes, high reward possibly, which is right up Jeb's alley. And yeah, I'm jazzed.
Hi, Jazzed. I'm Jake. I play Owlin Woodrear, the Azamar Barbarian Artificer, which is fun to say now. I get to say 2 classes, so that's fun. But yeah, it has been a while, but I'm excited. Barbificer is funnier to say. Yeah, Barbificer.
Barbara Fisher is excited to say, "Hello, I'm Trevor. I play Zothkog Hibab, the orc cleric. No second class for Zoth as of now. But I don't think I'll be playing Zoth tonight. We will be flies on the wall for Wash attuning to a rod."
Sinir, Gauntleus, Cotex, Owara, Long ago, the four ancients created a world in harmony. Then, everything changed when the chat emped magic. Only Kelnor, master of good vibes, could stop them, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. 2 years have passed, and 4 adventurers have discovered a conspiracy, a company selling magic. And although their roleplay is great, they have a lot of XP to earn before they're ready to save anyone. But I believe they can save the world.
Yeah. I mean, I
Can
can
hear
hear
you
you
in
in
Discord.
Discord. Confirmed you are muted on the stream.
Yeah, confirmed here as well.
I'll still make it better. How about that? Does that have my voice now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello?
I think, yeah,
check.
you're coming through on stream.
Behold, it is I, the Game Master.
Yep, you're good.
You can hear me now? Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay. So for this first chunk of the stream, what's really happening is we are focusing our time on Mr. Jebediah Peppermint. You can't actually see him. He appears to be hidden behind Jake's face. I'll fix that in the future, but you can see Wash. And what's happening right now, we are picking up at this moment mere moments after the finale from the last season. So if you remember, there was a big battle, there was a dramatic escape. Jeb summoned a cipher truck with its cool like automated return to driver function, came and picked him up. But now, Jeb, you sit on a meager cot, finally resting, hidden away safely in the experimental testing grounds owned by Edison, and this particular room loaned to you by Elaine Mollusk. There have been debriefs and meetings, and Fox is still locked in a room explaining himself to Willow, his merfolk friend. It doesn't sound like that's going all so well, with the occasional raised voice and echoing yell kind of fighting its way down the echoey cavern halls from their sort of separated room. But you, at least, have been patched up. I mean, some of your scrapes and bruises are going to, they still smart. It's going to take a few weeks, at least, for you to kind of be back to, like, full, fit to adventure. But you're patched up. You're in good company. You're healed. You're not, like, actively bleeding out or anything like that. And it's, you finally have a chance, after all the meetings, all the long day that it's been, to get some rest. And yet, tired as you are, that one shin-long segment of frosted iron still taunts you from where it leans against your nightstand. It's chill to the touch. I mean, it's not harmful like it was to Zothkug, but it's smooth and it's nearly featureless and it's chill. When you touch it, little goosebumps erupt on your little mole claw. It's featureless, save for 2 small notches at the top and bottom, almost as if it's meant to connect to something else that you don't have. And as you hold it, you feel again that sense that locked within this one shin bar are secrets beyond number, just waiting for you to delve in and claim them. You close your eyes, and you hear a swirling of voices of varied pitch, timbre, and gender all ask as one, will you seize the secrets within?
I hear that in my head.
You do.
I mean, I'm definitely not talking myself out of it at this point.
Mhm.
It seems, I don't remember those voices, though. Well, old Jib, we're gonna do what we always do. We're either gonna get ourselves into trouble and out of it immediately, or it's just gonna be great and not trouble in the first place.
All right.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna dive into this thing.
You open your eyes. All you did was blink, and yet you are not in the cave room where you were just sitting moments ago. In fact, you're nowhere. You look around, and it's just blankness. It's not really white or any other color. It's just blank. And as you look into the blankness, the void, it almost constructs itself as you look around, you imagine, well, maybe I'm on the beach, and below you, ground begins to form and you begin to see the water's edge and hear it. But as soon as you let go of the thought of the beach again, it vanishes and you're back in the nothing. After a few moments of standing here, sort of exploring your ability to almost lucid dream in this reality, you hear again those whispering voices. The varied timbre, the different communicators, and they're all saying different things now. It's just a cacophony of what you think might be advice, but all conflicting and spoken over itself to where you can't really get any actual. It's just white noise to you to go along with the void in which you stand. And then in one flash, almost, the white noise fades away, and in front of you, out of the nothingness, materializes a staircase. You kind of take a step back as the staircase forms, and you see that it stretches out to either side of you, wide steps, maybe 400, 500 shins in total. You stand at the center of it, but as they go up, they get narrower and narrower. In fact, you're standing at the foot of a stepped pyramid, and at the top of this stepped pyramid, significantly above you, but not unreachably so, there is a door inset. It's about, 5 or 6 steps from the top of the pyramid. There's a door inset, and on that door is the rod that you were recently holding. It now serves as the push bar of the door to get into this pyramid.
Interesting. I'm going to pat myself down. Do I have my blunderbuss? Do I have my bandolier? Or do I feel like this is like a mental projection? Am I like
you have
inner Jeb right now?
nothing with you. You are just Jeb.
Okay.
You do, however, have the friendly aid of your shoulder angels.
Of course.
If necessary, whom you may consult.
How bright is it here?
Door.
I think it's a push door.
We're off to a good start, guys. We're off to a good start.
It is exactly acceptably bright. It is neither overwhelming nor dim.
Okay.
And it is fully ambient. Like there's no sun or stars or anything. It's just an everywhere light. There are shadows, but they are very faint, and they are perfect circles around your feet. There's no direction of light.
After having noticed like there's a beach beneath me, and then kind of like manifesting some stuff, I'm gonna try and manifest my clothes to change.
What do you want to change them to?
I want Jeb's jacket to turn like super bright red with like icy buildup on the bottom, on the fringe. And his hat is going to be like the same. It's going to be bright red with like the band that has like these ice and crystals and stuff around it.
Very cool. And as you begin to manifest your attire, you also realize that you have your things. Your inventory has appeared as you have begun to think about your possessions and where they are. They have appeared again on your person. You do successfully change your appearance of your clothes. So you now look quite striking in the sort of featureless.
Flip up the now very high collar of my jacket. And I'd be like, all right, shoulder angels, let's do this. And can I manifest? Can I manifest the soldier angel or the shoulder angels?
Yes, you manifest a very tiny Zothkug and a very tiny Owlin. They sit exactly with their feet dangling over the brim of your hat.
They both have little wings, and Jeb's going to model Owlin's wings after the ones that he saw him manifest or his
during his rage.
Perfect.
Yep. Let's go.
I love this.
All right, guys, and I'm gonna reach out and like just lay a hand on the steps of this pyramid just to kind of get a sense of it.
They feel like stone steps. Yeah, like they're solid. They exist. They feel like kind of smooth stone steps. Like intentional stone bricks have been used to make this. Is what I'm trying to say.
All right, guys, that was our one move of caution. We're just going forward now, and he's just gonna like start hiking up the steps.
10 steps go by, 50, 100, 200, until finally you make it to the door. It took longer than it looked like it should take, but you're there now. Before you, the the segment of rod, this 1 shin long bar of frosted iron, serves as the push or pull bar, depending on which shoulder angel you ask, of the door leading into this pyramid. Do you push or pull?
Is it vertical or horizontal?
It's a vertical.
Then I pull.
You pull, and the door pulls open towards you, and you walk through. You can't see anything on the other side as the door opens. You step through, and you find yourself in sort of another vague kind of featureless expanse. You know, the same deal where like you think about things, they materialize and vanish as soon as you let go of them. It takes a little while for what's actually here to form. And then what you see in front of you is, it looks like a really long staircase. And then as you step back from the staircase, it stretches to either side of you about 400, 500 shins in length. But it gets narrower as it goes higher and higher. And it dawns on you, you're actually standing at the base of a stepped pyramid right now. And I don't know, 2 to 5 rungs from the top of it, 2 to 5 steps down, there is a door inset into the pyramid itself, with the bar of frosted iron vertically on it as a push or pull bar available there at the top of the pyramid.
So do I get a sense that I have just looped through this thing?
Well, it certainly looks exactly the same as it did last time. I mean, you still have your possessions and your outfit are the same. They have not changed, but the position in the pyramid looks exactly identical and all that. Yeah.
Perhaps you must push this time?
That's worth a shot. I'm gonna turn around behind me. Is the door still open behind me?
You turn around behind you. The door is not open behind you, but what you do see is a stepped pyramid reaching away from you up into the distance, about 500 shins to either side at the base. And at the top of it, there is a door with a vertical push bar made of frosted iron, but it's on the other side of the door, on the left edge of the door instead of the right edge of the door. In fact, as you think to yourself, this looks like a reflection, the water of the reflection behind you begins to gravitationally correct and rain down upon you. Drip, 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 as the old reflection dissolves. The stairs are becoming slipperier by the moment.
We don't want to slip.
No. I'm gonna go up the one behind me.
Okay, you go up the one behind you, and you're able to get to the top of it. But as you're climbing this pyramid, this giant staircase, as the drops of water land on you, your different possessions begin to vanish. Like as the water hits it, it's almost like it's washed away from where you are. It begins to disappear. And you can see as the rain hits the stairs, it illuminates runes, and they appear to be in a different language on each step of the pyramid, but they do seem to all be, they're about the same length, so they probably all say the same thing. And when you finally get to one that's in a language that you speak, all it says is "trust what you know," is written on the stair. And do you continue climbing?
All right, I'm writing this down.
No worries.
Trust what you know.
Maybe you should write down everything you know right now.
That
I mean, I
doesn't
already
seem
know what I
quite
know,
pertinent.
and I don't think that would be a token of trust to write down something if I already know it.
What do you know?
I know that I'm not in my body, or at least I'm in my mind. Or potentially I am in this rod.
Can you imagine an escape from this pyramid?
Or the solution.
I'm going to try to imagine the rain stopping.
The rain legitimately freezes in midair. The droplets slow and finally halt as they're falling.
Oh, you have control.
I have control, but it's of something that is not mine. Or is it? I'm going to try and envision the door just being in front of me where I am on the staircase.
You open your eyes, and in front of you is the door.
I'm going to grasp the door handle,
Mhm.
aka the rod.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and wrest it from the door.
Make a strength check.
That's a natural 20, big dog.
Woo-hoo!
With a 0
Woo!
modifier
Nice.
is 20 total.
Solid.
Yeah. You grab it and you look at the rod and you yank it sideways and shear it off the door. And it snaps clean so that you have this, like, there's nothing broken or jagged about it. It comes off exactly as it should. And as soon as you do that, all of the water around you in one big move cascades to the ground and, spreads around the pyramid. And now there's just the reflection as it should be, stretching out in every direction from the pyramid. In this ambient light, there's a perfect reflection to each side, creating sort of a diamond shape or almost like flower petals coming out from the base of the pyramid. The door is gone from in front of you, back at the top of the pyramid where it should be. But now in your hand, you have the chunk of the rod again.
I'm going to
We
sniff
did
it.
it.
It smells normal. It doesn't really smell like anything.
Okay. Sniff check's never a bad idea.
You should like
In a
it.
in a dream, I'm not sure how many senses need to be checked necessarily.
I'm going to listen to it.
They all could deceive you.
What does it taste like?
Roll perception.
That is a 7.
You don't hear anything coming out of the rod yet.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to... So, Jeb's kind of putting things together here. He remembers Did Jeb hear the reading? Yeah, he heard the reading of the prophecy of the last game, right? Because
Yeah.
we got those documents, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeb is going to kind of start putting 2 and 2 together that this piece of the rod rings true of intelligence. And while he did brute force it off of this door, he feels like that's not the way to understand or to claim use of an artifact like this. He's going to hold it out in front of him and say, "I'd like to wield you."
At the very top of the rod, where the notch is that would connect it to another segment, a very small, semi-translucent, incorporeal figure begins to pull itself out of the top of the rod. It's a small molefolk, and as it stands up, you realize it's Grandpa Cole, who Jeb has often regarded as one of the most wise and intelligent people he knows, stands atop the rod. And he looks at you and he says, "Boy, pup, you're in for it now. You thought I loved my puzzles. Boy, you better put your thinking hat on. But if you want to claim this rod, you're going to have to go through a little test, a little puzzle, or maybe even 2. But I promise, no lies, you just walk to the top of the stairs to get started. That's your first test. Can you walk to the top of these stairs and go through the door that waits for you up there? Remember, intelligence is the key." And then he, poof, vanishes.
Intelligence is the key. I never took much intelligence to do any walking in my past before.
One may be surprised how much brain power is needed to put one foot in front of the other. That sounded way deeper when I thought it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna very this doesn't I'm not trying to like game the system here, but I'm going to try to walk forward thoughtfully. And by that I mean as Jeb walks forward, he's going to watch his feet. He's going to think about where he steps. And instead of just looking at the door and rushing up like he did last time, he's going to like consider the path and the steps that he's taking.
Roll investigation with advantage.
Thank goodness for that advantage. That is a 22.
Yeah.
You realize that, like, you know how bricks get laid and so the grooves behind them are kind of staggered from layer to layer? You realize that there is one line of grout in white running through the bricks and the rest of it is gray. And so as you kind of get the vibe that maybe this is a path that you could follow.
Okay. I mean, we're taking our time and we're thinking our way through this, so that's as good of an idea as any. I'm gonna try and step on the white grout, almost like you know when you're walking down a sidewalk and you kind of like walk along the lines.
You step on the white grout and nothing happens.
Well, but I mean, I'm going to follow it.
Oh, okay. You follow
by
it.
stepping on the white grout.
Great. You follow it the whole way up to the top of the pyramid where the door is. You push open the door, and beyond you is something new.
Ooh.
7 prismatic walls stretch ahead of you in a hallway that seems impossibly long for the fact that you're at the top of a pyramid. Like, geometry itself states that you shouldn't be able to go forward that far when, you know, you're at the very top of it. And yet, this hallway extends forwards away from you. It's just like a straight line forwards. And as you step into the hallway, behind you, the door swings shut with a and it rings through the room. To the right of you, there is a small plinth, a platform where maybe a gargoyle might sit, except there is no gargoyle there.
To the right of me.
Mm-hmm.
But this wall continues on straight.
So it's a tunnel that goes ahead of you, and then your way is impeded by these prismatic walls. So like there's a full wall of red, a full wall of orange, and so on and so forth.
And those are all directly in front of me, like in barriers and layers. Oh, okay.
Right.
Can I examine the plinth?
You examine the plinth, and you see a small notch on the top of it.
Is this like a hole, like a depression? Is it a cut of like the length of it? Or
It's like a depression into the top of the plinth.
What shape is it?
It's base of the rod shaped.
Okay. I'm going to lay the rod in it.
You lay the rod down. Who is someone else that Jeb regards as very intelligent?
I think at this point, probably Onions.
Hmm.
You know, he doesn't have I know it's more wisdom than intelligence, but Jeb values the intelligence that comes from a life lived, you know, in perception of those around you.
You set the rod down, and it gives a satisfying click as it slots into the depression on the plinth. And then another semi-translucent figure pulls itself out of the top of the rod. And standing there, looking back at you, is Onions, your cousin, Avery. And he says, Hey, Cheese. I really would love to just let you on through here. Hospitality's kind of my thing, but this one's actually not about being nice. It's about, testing you a little bit. And so we got a little riddle for you, because if you look behind you and you see that behind you a table has risen out of the floor. So this would be on your left, the left side of the room. A table has risen out of the floor, and it's got some vials on it. You'll see a bunch of different potions there of all different colors. And then if you look to my left, your right, you'll see a bunch of walls of different colors that you need to walk through to get to the next side. Now, be careful here, because, if you step into a wall wrong, I mean, that's a failure, and you're going to find yourself back at the beginning here. And failures, they take a long time, to wear off in this place. Every time you'll find out. So let me give you the riddle, okay? You listening? You ready?
Yeah, manifests ears a little bigger.
7 walls of 7 colors. 7 potions to pass through. No color corresponds to itself. Red and greens clash. The orange potion goes to a neighbor color. 1 yellow goes to 1 green. Since indigo's not a real color, Violet decided to swap with it. Blue and orange chose to complement. So drink the potion that goes to each wall, in order, and walk through.
Okay.
And then he vanishes.
It seems as though this must be mostly the process of elimination, as you deduce each color from easiest to most difficult. The next should be a bit easier to define, until I assume by the end of the riddle there may be only 1 color left to match with a potion, if that makes sense.
What is the order of the colors on the wall?
Yeah, so the walls in front of you, the actual walls you need to go through, are the same as the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And then you have a potion of each of those colors as well. So, you would need to drink the potion that corresponds to red first, and then you would drink the potion that corresponds to the orange wall, and so on and so forth to walk through it.
So he said red and green conflict, right?
He said, no color corresponds to itself. Red and greens clash. The orange potion goes to a neighbor color. 1 yellow goes to 1 green. Since indigo isn't a real color, Violet decided to swap with it. And blue and orange chose to complement.
1 yellow goes to 1 green, and then indigo and violet swapped with each other, and blue chose to what?
Blue and orange chose to complement.
Okay. Well, you lucky podcast listeners, are going to get to hear the lovely telltale brain noises of thinking through and figuring out a puzzle.
I was thinking I might,
puzzle.
maybe consider verbally processing your thoughts.
Yeah.
To bring them into the mind of Jeb here. You can tell me when it's an attempt, and that way, you don't have to worry about accident. Oh, I didn't mean that. You just
Yeah, no, it's good.
think out loud and just let me know when you're ready.
So we're tackling old Roy G. Biv here. Let's see. Red and green clash. So does that mean clashing is normally a bad thing? So I think that means that you don't use them for each other.
Yeah.
So that means we don't know what red is or green is yet, but we do know that red and green don't use red or green. Orange. It says orange works with its neighbor, which is either red or yellow.
It also complements blue.
It complements blue. But blue is not a neighbor to red and orange. I mean, sorry, it's not a neighbor to orange. Okay. What was the thing between yellow and green?
Red and green color. One yellow goes to one green.
One yellow to one green. One yellow goes to one green. But there aren't two yellows.
Are there more than one walls?
Well, there's a yellow potion and a yellow wall, and there's a green potion and a green wall.
Okay. So
I
either the
said too
yellow
much.
potion. No, you're fine. So a yellow potion goes to a green wall, or a yellow wall goes to a green potion. Okay. And then Indigo and Violet traded places with each other. What was the specific words on that?
Since indigo isn't a real color, Violet decided to swap with it.
Violet swapped. With Indigo. Wow. This is a real brain buster here. So I think so the first wall is red, right? You got this, little Zoth? First wall is red. And our options are an orange potion for it, because orange goes with one of its neighbors, and that would be red would be one of those neighbors. What would one of the other options for red be?
Yellow.
Can't be
blue.
green, because green clashes with it. What were you saying?
Yellow or blue. Orange, yellow, or blue goes to red.
How would blue go to red?
There's nothing
Blue-
that says blue can't go to red.
Oh, that's fair.
If I
What
might
does it mean
offer a tip for just as far as collecting your thoughts on this,
Sure.
puzzles like this work a lot easier if you make a little matrix in front of you, like a tic-tac-toe
Yeah.
board almost, where you have Roji Biv on both sides, and then you can do X's where you know the colors don't go, almost like filling in crossword type deal. And that sometimes makes it easier to process through these kinds of puzzles.
That is
Visually.
actually a good idea. I'm glad I came up with it.
I typed up a visual too myself.
Pretend that the owl and shoulder angel said that instead of getting a phone call.
Yeah.
Thanks, little Alan. All right. This reminds me of my school days collecting Vegemon and learning about their type weaknesses and type advantages.
Classic.
I mean, of course, you know, you're not the real Alan. You're from my head.
Well, yes. In your head, I also am an avid Vegemon collector.
As you should be.
Mhm.
As you should be. Okay. So the red wall.
It cannot be green.
Cannot be green. And the green, well, okay, that can't be red. All right, I'm figuring this out. I manifest like a little slate, and I just use my finger to like start crossing through these different ones as we're going through it. All right. Orange. Let's see. So red. All right, so with orange, it can only be red or yellow. So that means it's not orange. Oh, yeah, there we go. We can cross out all the ones in the middle because they don't ever correlate to their own. So that gives us a nice diagonal down the middle. I wish I had a little camera thing here.
I was just thinking it'd be cool to stream this so that people could puzzle it along with you, but it's not. This is bonus content.
Yep.
We kick back off with season 2 next week, chap. Next Monday. So
all right, so orange can only be red or yellow. So I'm going to cross off green, blue, indigo, violet. Green, blue, indigo. Oops, that's not that one. Green, blue, indigo, violet. All right, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. So if we do dang, this is tough, y'all.
I believe in you.
You can also, like, you can always try a couple, like, take the guess and try it. It just, will set you back. If you get it wrong, it just costs you time.
Mm.
Can we get this just pasted so we don't have to keep asking you the riddle?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should have done that first. That's fine.
You're good.
See if I can. There we go. Discord in your browser. That's what I want.
He wants it. He has got it. Discord in his browser.
One yellow goes to green and one green goes to yellow.
No, it's just one yellow goes to green.
Oh, right. One yellow goes to one green, so that means one yellow and one green go to something else.
Yes.
I thought there was only one of each color of potion.
There's the wall and the potion.
One yellow potion can go to one green wall, or it's one yellow wall goes with one green potion.
I see.
I still don't understand the indigo and violet swapping with each
I
other.
assume
Or like,
that just means
That one of them goes to the other.
the violet potion goes to the indigo wall and the indigo potion goes to the violet wall. That's how I read it.
well, it says indigo is not a real color, so violet swapped with one of them. Or no, swapped with indigo. And blue complements orange.
It says, "Hey, orange, you look nice."
All right. I think I'm going to take a stab at the red wall.
Okay.
I'm going to drink the orange potion.
You drink the orange potion. It tastes citrusy. Goes down smooth.
And I'm going to reach out and touch the orange wall.
Or the red wall.
Sorry, yeah, the red wall.
Your hand slides through the red wall as though it wasn't even there. Soon after, you take a step and your whole body goes through. The table, poof, vanishes from behind you and poof, reappears now in between this wall and the orange one.
Okay. All right, we did good, guys. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't certain on that. It was a 50-50 chance. And we, as things do, for some strange reason, kind of worked out.
Make sure you notate that one works for sure.
Yep, that one has been notated on the stone slab here. That is getting a little heavy. I should have made this out of wood. And I manifest it to like turn and change material into wood.
It does.
And Dirt could get used to this sort of stuff. All right, orange. Orange wall.
Could be anyone except orange.
It can't be green. It
Why
can't
not?
be, well, because orange affects its neighbor.
It just says orange potion goes to a neighbor color. Doesn't say anything about the orange wall.
But it didn't say potion. It said
It says
orange goes with its
The
neighbor.
orange potion goes to a neighbor color.
Oh, I missed that. Thank you, Shoulder Angel. The orange potion goes with its neighbor. I knew that. That's what I meant.
You had me pulling back up the message I sent to you in a panic. Like, no, did I screw it up?
Okay, well, let me undo that.
That I mean, well, that just confirms what we already know.
So okay, so for a fact, we know that we can't use the orange potion on this, and that's all we know.
Yes.
Essentially.
We do know that the blue complements orange.
This is true. What I believe in that would be the next logical try.
We know that one yellow works with one green,
Yep.
but another yellow could work with this orange, so that's still a possibility. We still don't know anything on indigo and violet yet.
Other than violet swapped with indigo.
Right.
Which I presume means that one works for the other and the other works for the other.
I'm gonna drink the blue one.
You drink the blue potion. It tastes kind of like pizzazzy. Like it's a little sparkling. Yeah.
I savor it and I shake out the last drop.
Yeah, it's great. Very refreshing. Crisp.
I'm gonna reach out and touch the orange wall.
And your
with my
hand phases through.
Hey. All right, Tiny Owlin, you're doing great.
Thank you.
I'm now realizing that that's a mildly self-serving compliment, seeing as though you're a manifestation of my mind, but compliments nonetheless.
Owlin, as
okay.
I picture you, is pretty smart.
In a way, it is a compliment because you do picture me as smart and giving you intelligent advice.
That's wonderful wisdom I just gave myself. Thank you for that.
It's mostly just self-assurance.
Okay, we're in front of the yellow door. One yellow goes with one green.
Our
We
options,
don't have any leads. Sorry.
Our options so far are red, green, and blue.
We
He's-
do not have blue is not an option because we just drank the blue.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, I forgot to mark that.
Once
we drank
again-
the orange
Once
and the
again,
blue.
make sure to notate that worked.
Yes.
Yep. So
Tiny
we
Zothkug
have-
manifests a tiny slate so he can continue keeping track.
So we could pick red is an option. Yellow is not an option.
Red or
So-
blue. So
For blue, we
sorry.
just drank blue,
I
so
know.
it seems as though red is the only option.
Yeah,
Well, green is also an option.
I marked off the wrong one.
And indigo and violet are an option.
I do, as I keep repeating myself,
yeah,
I
that's
believe
right,
that
that's
those go
right.
to each other.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Okay, so we're looking at red or green.
Yes.
Red and green conflict. That means they definitely don't go with each other. Which means that... And then one yellow goes to one green. Which means that
wall
we
are
would have a lower chance, or like a higher... Well, we don't know anything about red. Or green. We do know a little bit about yellow.
Is this currently
no.
a green wall or a yellow wall?
No, sorry, this is a yellow wall. I don't know why I'm doing that one.
Yeah,
So
or
red or
I-
green?
Yeah.
Red or green?
I believe green is the best try.
You know, they say geniuses pick green.
Greeniuses.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick the green. I'm gonna drink the green potion.
You drink the green potion. It tastes faintly of apple.
Oh, I was thinking mint, but I like that.
There could be some mint swirled in there. Apple and mint complement each other well. It's
I'm
like
going to
a
touch
like a
my hand.
refreshing hibiscus juice.
Oh, there we go. I'm going to touch my hand against the yellow wall.
You reach out your hand and you touch the yellow
Oh,
wall, and
here
a
it
jolt
goes.
of energy races up your arm towards your shoulder. You blink in surprise, and when you open your eyes, you are behind the red wall. And next to you
Okay.
are all 7 potions again. None have been drunk.
Okay.
To be honest, I did not expect the potion to be that little, or the punishment. I thought maybe we would have to do something stupid to get back here.
Well, that was just
Oh, the
first
punishments
failure,
aren't in
first try.
here, little dude, says Onions
Yeah.
from the scepter.
Well,
That knowing that, assuming that Indigo and Violet are simply just swapped, we can we have the correct order.
Ooh, really? Man, I
Yes,
can't believe I
that's why
worked it
he
out that
keeps the
quickly.
slate. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna drink the orange potion for the red wall again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna drink the blue potion for the orange wall.
Okay.
And then I believe we
Red
want to go
potion.
red for this one, right?
Yep.
All right, now I'm gonna drink the red potion for this wall.
Okay.
What's it taste like?
The red potion tastes like strawberry, and it's chilled. It's like a cool strawberry drink.
Oh. Nice. And I'm gonna touch the yellow wall.
You phase through it.
All right. All right. We're up on the green wall. Shoulder Angel,
Yellow.
what we got? Yellow?
Because
I'm
one
gonna-
yellow to one green.
I'm going to drink the yellow potion.
You drink the yellow potion. It's lemonade, just straight up lemonade.
Nice.
Yeah, refreshing.
Tangy.
And I touch my hand to the green wall.
You phase right through it.
Amazing.
You're now in front of a blue wall.
And we are in front of a blue wall. I think
If-
we want the orange potion, right?
We
Evil.
use the orange potion.
Yep, you drank that first.
Oh,
Was it blue and indigo
You're
who
right.
swapped?
No, it was Indigo and Violet that swapped. The next potion would be green, assuming Indigo and Violet just swap with each other.
Well, that is our
Okay.
best guess.
we're gonna try green. And if you're wrong, I'm probably sleeping in my bed, peeing my pants, just for like weeks on end.
Mint, apple, and hibiscus all at once swirl in a delightful flavor combination, and then you phase through the blue wall.
Nice. You know, when I get out of this, Tiny Zoth, I'm going to give Big Zoth a hug and just, he's not going to know what's going on, but Yumi will know that I know that Yumi knows what he did.
So now we only have one option left for each one.
All right. So we're in front of the indigo wall, and I'm going to drink the violet potion.
The violet potion tastes like a carbonated grape drink. And it's chilled
Purple drink.
because carbonated grape drinks are disgusting when they're warm.
I think most carbonated drinks are not good when they're warm.
And then you phase through the indigo wall. And last,
All right.
the violet wall and the indigo potion.
Mm-hmm.
The indigo potion, what's it taste like, Trevor?
It tastes like the color indigo.
Wow, that was the most useless answer you could give it. It tastes like the color indigo.
Yeah.
It tastes like
It tastes like snazberries.
yeah, snazberries, but with a little bit of
A little bit of honey.
Mm,
yeah,
nice.
and a lot of synthwave.
And so you
Yep.
phase through the violet wall, and you find yourself now facing a sort of standard, like old oak door. It's not too ornate. It's not shabby. It's just kind of there. It's kind of meh.
What kind of handle does it have on it?
It's got a big brass knocker up at the top, and then it's just got like a turn and open handle. A doorknob. That's what we call those in civilized society.
Turn and open handle. I like it.
Hi,
That's
YouTube
canon.
Shorts.
Okay. Trying to think. Even knocks are polite. Odd-numbered knocks are rude. So I'm
Fair
going
enough.
to knock on it 5 times.
Oh,
You knock on it 5 times. The sound
just hear-
reverberates behind you through the long stone tunnel you've just come down. and otherwise nothing happens.
Okay. And I turn the doorknob and I open it.
You turn the doorknob and you open it. As you open the door, you find, just like in your other hand, oh, you have the rod again that you left on the plinth. It's just back in your hand. And you hear Onions' voice say, up until now, it's been people you think are intelligent who've been helping you. But this room you got to do all on your lonesome. And if you can figure this one out, after this, it'll be all the knowledge of the people who came before you that are helping you in the future. And then his voice kind of fades into the distance. You find yourself staring at the cluttered study of a wizard. It's full of dusty books and vials of all kinds of potion, things you never even read about, just all kinds of manner of potion. This is like, experiments and tools and magnifying glasses and things. There's a really impressive whiskey collection. There's a bunch of strange totems. There's various colored orbs kind of scattered throughout. Some of them have smoke within. Some of them have dust within. Some of them have little swirling storms inside. You find a hat stand with all manner of hat. You find a luxuriously comfortable armed chair, and at the center there are 2 empty stone bowls sitting on top of a wooden chest. One of those bowls has 2 runes carved into the center of it, and they look like runes of fire and water, and the other one has 2 runes carved into it, and they are air and stone.
Fire and water. Air and stone. And you said these 2 bowls are just next to each other?
Yeah, they're sitting on top of a chest next to each other.
Is there anything in the bowls?
No, just the runes.
And are the runes like side by side or?
Yeah, they're just side by side in the at the base of the bowl, like at the bottom of the depression.
Okay. I'm thinking we need to get something from this room and put it in these bowls.
That seems to
Maybe.
be what is obvious, or maybe not obvious, but the most obvious solution.
Or we need to get something that is the combination of both of these. So fire and water would be steam. And air and stone.
Could also be boiling water.
That could be boiling water.
Can you
Air and stone would be pumice? I don't know. Sand?
Can you
Dust.
manifest
There
anything
was
in this room?
dust in here. I'm going to try to manifest like
Nothing happens.
a power of dust. Nope.
Wouldn't air and stone just be a smooth stone?
You said there was
Often stones are smoothed by other stones.
You said there was something dusty in here. I heard you say the word dust. Was that just description or was that something that was in here?
There is a bookshelf full of dusty books.
I'm going to scrape some dust off the ledge of the bookshelf into my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to granularly pour it out into the air and stone.
As you put it into the bowl, instead of landing neatly on the bottom of the bowl like it's supposed to, it swirls around inside as if some kind of hidden air current has taken it, and then falls gently to fill exactly the patterns of the runes, leaving the bowl smooth, and the bowl feels warm to the touch now.
Looks like that worked.
All right. Fire and water.
Is there water in here?
Do we see any water in here?
You see exactly what I narrated before. It's the cluttered study of a wizard, full of dusty books, vials of all manner of potions. I mean, stuff you don't even recognize. This is a workshop, magnifying glasses, different alchemy tools, all kinds of things. You see many strange totems, an impressive whiskey collection, various colored orbs. There's a hat stand with all manner of hat on it. There's a luxuriously comfortable armed chair. And at the center, there are these 2 stone bowls sitting on top of a wooden chest.
The orbs. I'd like to investigate the orbs.
Sure. There are 5 orbs in the room. They are red, yellow, blue, green, and violet. And in each one, there is a different sort of like thing that makes it hard to see through. So like one of them has a little swirling tornado in it. One of them has some swirling mist. One of them has little particles of snow. One of them has some dust in it. And one of them has just like if you've seen frosted glass, like it's just that sort of icy texture on the outside, so you can't quite see through it.
We could spit in the bowl.
I have an alternate idea, perhaps in a somewhat comical way. Whiskey is fire and water.
I like the way you think.
Jeb and Owlin thinking back to their wine tasting days.
Making like volcano, literally volcano.
Yes, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab the whiskey. And did one of those? I'm sorry, I was trying to write and pay attention to what you were saying. The orbs. Did one of them have like a fire of some kind inside of it?
No.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm gonna grab the whiskey and look for is there a label of a brand on it, or is there any that seem like particularly strong?
They all
is
have
there one named Volcano?
They all have different brands. Sure, there's some Unholy Volcano in here. Why not?
Okay. I'm gonna try the Unholy Volcano.
Okay.
And just pour it into a little glass.
Mm-hmm.
Take a sip, and then I'll pour some in.
Okay. Well, then I guess roll your save first. Roll Constitution save, because Unholy Volcano is straight to wasted. It's specifically Unholy Volcano is straight to wasted.
Constitution save. That's a 10.
I think that actually passes on the first sip.
Let's go.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I didn't roll very great, but
yes,
Jeb is thoroughly constituted.
You barely eked through. Congratulations. You are still of sane, sober mind. And then you pour the rest into the bowl. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the rest of the cup that I poured.
Yeah. So you pour in some of it, and it falls into the bowl like normal, but then when it gets to the top, it like beads into little droplets, and they rearrange to fill in the runes. And this bowl too feels warm to the touch. The bowls, you hear like an audible click, and you can now slide the bowls apart from each other on top of the wooden chest, which reveals a single keyhole in the top of it.
Okay. So what would be the key to the four elements? Let's see. What does the rod look like it would fit into it?
It probably could.
What's the key to dust and whiskey? That's the real question. The key to dust and whiskey is another book in the Jebediah Peppermint Chronicles.
That's great.
What are the books on the shelf?
They're the Jebediah Peppermint Chronicles.
Oh, okay.
They are now.
I guess this is all in his mind.
They're miscellaneous wizard books. Like they're the content of them is not relevant. I'll give you that much. But they're all different, ways to change spells and stuff like that.
Jeb spends a year here just copying them into his spell book. Okay.
Those orbs are peculiar.
Yeah, the orbs are kind of peculiar. I'm gonna try and fit the rod into the keyhole, see if it does it.
It slides into the keyhole smooth as butter, and when it's flush with the chest, you hear echoing through your voice or through your head those same like multiple voices all speaking at once. They go, "Intelligence is the key." And then with a click, the chest itself, the lid folds open, and in front of you, you see a small pendant on a silver chain.
What's it look like?
You tell me.
It looks like a 4-leaf clover.
Yeah, it does. It's like a small silver 4-leaf clover on the end of a small chain.
Just like Papa Cole's cufflinks.
Yeah, it does. You gonna take it?
Yeah. I'm gonna reach in slowly and reverently and lift it out.
As you lift it out, everything around you fades back into that void. And standing in front of you is a human who you do not recognize. He wears a crown of gold upon his head. He has a long, flowing cloak of deep violet. He wears boots made for war. And as you look into his deep golden eyes, his form begins to flicker, and suddenly you're staring at a queen. And then her form flickers, and you're staring at a drow warlord, and then his form flickers, and you're staring at someone else, and they all begin to like merge into one, where it's like you're staring at this collective consciousness. And
The kings of the past ages.
And they say to you, as one, congratulations, you have proven yourself worthy. And from here on out, we will aid you in your adventures. Once, just once, right now, you may ask us any question. And if it is within the knowledge of past eras to answer, we will give you your answer.
Wow. That's a tricky question. Because as I understand it, and Jeb's kind of like postulating through this, kind of thinking out loud in front of them. Because it seems to me that you are from an age of before this world even was, almost from an entirely different world.
And yet our universes are shaped of the same things, and they have much in common.
Try gaining more insight into the Abyss and their.
Or you may simply ask a question that you find intellectually stimulating.
That's true. Well, I think what I'd really like to know is what happens to the souls of those who die if there were no magic in the world, and if the weave were destroyed.
They begin to tilt their head and think, and as they look back at you and open their mouth to speak, suddenly the form of the kings of past ages and queens and lords, they vanish, and instead before you stretches an immeasurably vast series of glowing points connected one to the next by some kind of strange energy, and you realize you are looking at the weave as it existed in past ages. You're looking at the connection of magic that runs between all things, and you hear the voices over top of the thing you're looking at. They begin to fade in one after the other, changing tone and timbre as they speak. The weave connects all things, and in order to cast magic, one need only find some way to channel it. And when a soul departs this world, their energy travels through the weave to the place most like them, and the whole thing shrinks into this much smaller scale version of itself, and you see the astral planes and the elemental planes connected to the weave as almost like nodes or endpoints of the weave, where it siphons energy out and then feeds souls back in. They find eternal rest, slumber in the place that is most like them, some to the chaos, some to the astral seas, and some few to the actual planes themselves. And the planes begin spinning around you like someone has spun a lazy Susan, faster and faster and blurring until suddenly they shatter and everything falls apart. And the voices go, and without this connection, without these channels for the voices, for the souls to travel through, there is nothing but faded images wandering aimlessly through the ethereal plane, unable to find their way home until they either are destroyed, lost, or until someone rebuilds their path for them. You blink, and in that instance of a blink, you find yourself sitting back on your bed, on your cot, the pendant clutched tightly in your hand, and the rod in your other hand. And you see a detail you'd never noticed before on the frosted rod. You see a tiny hook on the side, the exact diameter of the chain that this pendant is hung through. And you can feel almost like magnets, like it wants to be placed there.
I place it on it.
And as soon as you do, you feel your attunement to the rod of intelligence become complete. And in that moment, you also understand the abilities that it gives you, the things that it can do. First, at all times, you have the spell Comprehend Languages cast upon you permanently while you hold this and it is touching your skin. So while you are bearing the rod, not just like stowing it in a pack, you have Comprehend Languages. 3 times before a long rest, you have an ability called Amplified Intelligence, which gives you advantage on anything intelligence-based. It could be a save, it could be a skill check, anything like that. You get advantage. You can use that 3 times per long rest. And then once per lunar cycle, you are able to summon counsel from the rod and consult with someone within. And this isn't like what you just had where they just answer a question of yours. This is like a situation in your world that they've not experienced before. But you then, like having a shoulder angel, you're able to like, what do you think about this? What would you have done, King Nero? You know, stuff like that. And those are the abilities that you have in this rod. You also get the sense that there are powers yet to be unlocked. Like that if you were to combine this with other things, then perhaps maybe if you put other sections of the Rod of 7 Parts in place, maybe it would do more things, though you cannot quite figure out what they are at this moment. Owlin and Zothkug, it has been a month and a week since your escape from the dark site beneath Tumbleweb. The Grey Watch have been moving you from safe house to safe house, trying to keep you under the radar until the Aboleth stop looking and it is safe for them to get you out of the country. Or at least out of the city-state of Tumbleweb, and towards central Urada, where you are hoping to next search for the avatars. And Jeb has been in a weird, like, trance state with his hands like stone gripped around the rod since you found him there that day you were about to move. Since you went back to his cot to fetch him, he was just there clutching it, eyes closed, breathing, stable, but otherwise just catatonic. Jeb, you don't feel hungry. You feel nourished and you know, alive and hale. You just haven't been conscious this whole time because you've been going through this mental trial. However, you don't realize Jeb has woken up, but you realize something is different because Owlin, you suddenly feel that spark within you, that ability that you used to have where you could snap your fingers and you could summon light. It almost feels like that's back.
Alan's gonna interesting, and then snap his finger and attempt to summon light again.
And indeed, at the tip of your finger, light appears in the way that it used to. And Zothkug, seeing this, you realize something too might be different for you. And you sit down cross-legged to meditate, and you don't feel your connection to Kelnor. Something about that is still severed. And yet, you feel that energy that you used to get when you had access to Kelnor, that divine inspiration, that presence of the gifts of Kelnor, that magic that you've been missing for 2 years now. suddenly it's back. And as you turn, trying to figure out what's going on, Jeb stands at the door of his own room, having just realized this. And Jeb, you seeing their magic, kind of processing it, thinking about it in your mind, you blink. And when you open your eyes, that tiny microcosm of the weave is radiating out of your section of the rod of many parts, of 7 parts, I should say. The past eras had their own weaves. So all of the 72 ages, each of them was knit together by a weave of magic, and this rod contains a small part of that power. And so within, I don't remember the exact number, so sorry if I screw it up, chat, but I think it's 100 feet of Jeb. We worked this out offline. I think it's 100 feet, but if it's wrong, I'll fix it when we have the first session of Season 2. Within 100 feet of Jeb, while he bears the rod, everyone within that space has access to the past weave and therefore magic of all kinds. Not just friendlies. Like, you don't get to choose to turn it off or on for anybody, but when you hold the rod in your hands, it is now present.
Sorry.
You're fine. Go ahead and ask.
Does the plant react to this?
Yes, the plant flowers.
Okay.
It like blooms into a happy little plant. Happy little vine plant.
And we see Jeb walk out of it, like standing in his doorway.
And Jeb, as you walk out the doorway, you also see that sitting in front of Owlin, sort of half covered in a cloth, is some device that he's been working on for the past month with Elaine Mollusk. Do you want to tell us about that, Jake?
Sure. I got to pull up the little description I made again. It is definitely a small device because it can fit on my face, because it's glasses. They look kind of like normal eyewear, except they're thick. They're kind of bulky. They're pretty nerdy looking, pretty dorky looking, especially on this big guy.
I'm loving it.
And sorry, once again pulling up what I wrote about it. And it is Owlin's spell focus, because he is now taken 2 levels of Artificer. And it's a fun time. Not like, all the bad stuff that's taken to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they are nerdy spectacles. Sorry, I'm reading my description again now. They make Alan's eyes look comically large. Like they're very thick, and he'll even demonstrate that, like, now that he like snapped his fingers and light came from him, he was like, he kind of gets this like expression of like, oh okay, and then like puts on the glasses, snaps his fingers again, and then this time the light shines out of the glasses like a searchlight. Just like, so wherever he looks, it's like shining, and it's the same length that it normally would have been if he cast light normally, but it's kind of a way for him to like, cast spells through it. And then he explains like, and now that I've learned a few offensive spells, it kind of looks like I have like laser eyes when I use them.
Please don't blow anything up in here. We just had to move because you blew something up in the last safe house. Elaine strides into the room. Oh, he's up. Hello.
Hey, Elaine.
How's it going? You were kind of a statue there for a bit.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys taking care of me while I was doing that. And Jeb kind of tucks the clover. Like it's can
like,
you like take it off and wear it?
It's like chained to the the rod now. So
yeah, he kind of tucks the rod into his coat. Yeah, thanks for taking care of me.
Your light spell extinguishes, by the way, Alan, when he tucks away the rod.
Oh,
you were out for a while. What happened?
Well, I found out a couple things. I was able to work this thing out, and as I pull it back out, I don't know if Owlin's eyes light things turn back on.
You just feel your magic again. The spell has still ended, so you would have to cast it again.
I figured this thing out, at least part of it. I'm starting to understand it. I feel like there's still some more stuff to uncover about it. And it's definitely going to help us help the world. But I've learned that the responsibilities that we have on our shoulders, guys, is much bigger than I thought.
In what way?
Well, it's been a while since I've been a dad, but I've got one last fatherly duty to take care of. We need to go save my daughter. I found out that when the weave was destroyed, souls can't move on. And they're either lost or destroyed themselves. And I'm not sure what to do about it yet. But that means everybody that this planet loses between now and when we figure this out are probably going to be gone.
Can you use the rod to help him?
Well, that's on my list of things to try out. I don't know. I thought about maybe if someone were to pass away, or if we were to find somebody's spirit, if they could maybe like take refuge in the weave that I have that's coming out of this, or if we could use this to at least channel it for them to move on, that might be a thing. But
Perhaps restoring the weave will also restore their pathway to move on.
well, that's the idea, but that's a big task, and it needs to be sooner rather than later.
Well, we will
So-
move urgently.
So what will you do? Elaine asks the group at large. What's next?
Well, we talked about moving to Central Urida to start tracking down the avatars and setting them free. We also
establishing
discussed,
our business.
yes, establishing a system, a business in that. That way, it's not just us working to
conquer.
restore this. Yes, exactly.
Will you change the name every time you hire a new person?
No, we're Four Guys Adventures and Vibes because we're the original Four Guys. But eventually there'll be more guys, and in a way, the Four Guys are of the more guys. That needs to be workshopped, but we'll figure something out like that.
Maybe we'll change the 4 to FOR.
Maybe hire someone for marketing.
That is the plan. Yes.
And thus, your conversation concludes. Unless you guys have other things you want to talk about before we move into the next kind of phase of our bonus content here.
Nope.
There's
That's
a,
it for
Good,
me.
yeah.
Wash, good job, by the way. You
Kind of reeling from all that.
you were killing it there, man.
Solid.
The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna time skip a little bit because season 2 is gonna start after a time skip, and I would like us to collectively work out what that time skip is. So sorry, chat, not you. I want to honor the players in this. But I had been thinking 6 months plus the one that Wash just spent in the thing puts us at 7 months. That's what I had been thinking. The time that remains is going to be spent first moving you through safe houses until it is safe to move you. And then the Grey Watch has to laboriously and slowly sneak you out of Tumbleweb through the tunnels, which is why it would take so long. They can get you as far as the acid corridor, which is where, let me see. I don't think I have a full screen of the
Close
map
to where we
in
met.
here.
Yeah.
Very close to where you met. They can get you as close to the acid corridor, and they can show you a tunnel that goes under it, but then you're kind of leaving their realm. And so you would, from there, push into Central Urida and the Dwarven Kingdom of Udril. You would cross Udril to get to where the first avatar is. So we would pick up basically right as you were approaching that first layer of the avatar that we know about. So that's I was thinking 7 months now, including Wash's thing. And during that time, you would also have established your business by mail. We're going to use the Dwarven Kingdom of Gaim, or Queendom, I should say, of Gaim, using Zoth's connection with Caitlin, daughter of Salen.
Josh,
Yes.
I would use the spell sending probably to help expedite that process of like communicating with the princess. Since I'm familiar with her, I can use the spell sending. I can only use it 3 times a day right now.
You can use the spell, but the weave doesn't reach far enough. So you'd
Uh,
probably have to use Scale and Sons for the moment.
Okay.
Or something. I mean, you could get some kind of, sending cipher and use Wingle Digits for that. But it gets worked out that way. And we've also talked about, and this is the other part of our bonus content, we've also talked about each of you hiring a department head for Four Guys Ventures and Vibes, because there are 4 departments at your company. There's the Department of Cool Stuff, the Department of Finances, the Department of Marketing, and the Department of Services, like actual labor and doing the work. And so each of you took charge of one of those departments. And so what I would like to do now is introduce you to who everyone found. And I have Fox's person. Fox is away again tonight, chat, because he has COVID. So I'm just taking care of his stuff. But each of you found an NPC, and they're going to come and like meet the founders now. This is their like, oh, we're going to meet the team. So this is your chance to like, it's kind of like entrance interviews. Like they're already hired, but this is your chance to get to know who your companions found. So
this is the first team meeting.
Exactly. So who would you like to meet first? Which department head?
Since it's a bit more on like the fun side, I myself have found Randy here for the cool stuff.
Yo, what's up, dudes? And a tall human strolls in wearing, you know how Alan has these really thick dorky glasses? This guy has the really narrow, like, cool bro sunglasses on, but he still is, like, buff and tower. He's kind of like Alan. He's got that, like mechanic bro vibe. He's got on a pair of overalls, but they're
Is he a shade tree artificer?
I can't tell you that. Because I don't know. I haven't made their character sheets yet. But he is an artificer for sure. And as he walks in, he goes, "Who's ready to make some?" And he pulls off his sunglasses, and there's another set beneath them. Cool stuff. Excited to work with you all. Been doing cool stuff my whole life. Ready to do more cool stuff, but now make more money at it. It's gonna be rocking.
He's a perfect fit.
Zoth here. What's the coolest thing you've done?
What's the coolest thing I've done? Man, it's hard to find a cool thing I haven't done. I went skydiving off the top of a mountain using nothing but a backpack and a grocery bag, and made my way down safely once using a bobby pin to hold them together as a parachute. And then when I got to the bottom, I cut down a tree and used my shoelace to turn it into a helicopter to fly me home. You probably haven't heard of a helicopter. They're these cool things that go and they like fly you around. They're pretty rad. I can make them. It's cool.
Concept.
Yeah,
yes.
they're pretty awesome. But yeah, now I mostly build things. My friends call me MIG. I mean, my name's Randy, so it's like a weird nickname, except there's like MIG welding, which is when you like shoot stuff with fire and it sticks together. It's pretty cool. I dig it.
I figured even though Edison isn't quite in our competition per se, they were eyeing him. I figured we would scoop him up before they could, if that makes sense.
I got one question for you, Randy.
Hit me with it, short stuff.
First off, I am your superior, so no short stuff. But
understood. Sorry about that. Apologize.
Do a kickflip.
Right there in that moment. He rolled an 18. He does a kickflip right there in that moment.
I've seen everything I need to see. I've seen everything I need to see. We're good here. We're good here.
All right.
What did he kickflip? What was he skating?
What? Oh, he's got a longboard that changes length to become a skateboard when he's ready to stow it. It like chink, spreads back out. So he did the kickflip on it as a longboard, but then when he lands, he like kicks a button with his heel and it like shrinks back into a skateboard so he can stow it. Yeah, I just keep it here in the like front pocket of my overalls. That's where I keep my skateboard. You never know when you're gonna need a skateboard.
He's a big, bluff, brown surfer artificer dude with overalls. Does he like have like the overalls with no shirt?
No, they're like mechanic overalls. So it's like I guess they're coveralls. Yeah, Coveralls is more.
I mean, I was here for the like the jean overalls, like with the cut off short legs on them, and like just like buff muscles underneath.
Oh, I got
I-
buff
yeah, that's just me.
muscles.
I look forward to all the cool stuff, man.
Hey, me too. And he strolls confidently out of the room. As he leaves, an eagle cries.
Well,
all right, so
anyway, I was pretty happy with how my interviews went.
that's cool stuff. So we've got finances, marketing, and services.
Well, I guess I could introduce my guy. A little more serious note, but I think I did a great job. Let me introduce you to Joffrey Belvedere.
Yes, it's hello. And he strolls into the room. He is a dwarf with a very well-kept beard. He's dressed very posh. He has a breast pocket with a pocket watch that's safely kept behind a kerchief, which he constantly takes out and polishes, but which you never see him actually open to check the time. And then he has a small like pocket abacus clipped to his belt, but it only has 3 beads on 3 rungs, so he can only count to 55 and only in base 4 on his abacus. But he just strolls in and says, yes, hello. I suppose you're my other employers, are you?
Yes.
Lovely to meet you.
The head of finance, correct?
Yes, finances. He pats his pocket abacus. 'Tis a noble deed, and I look forward to properly keeping the books in all the ways that are proper.
What's your experience with finances?
My experience with finances, well, and he brushes off his shoulder a little bit. I'm something of an investor myself, and so I'm very good at managing money and placing it where it needs to go, finding returns for my investments. For example, this pocket watch, and he pulls it out. Do you know what this pocket watch is worth? Neither do I, because I got it for a steal. And then he puts it back into his breast pocket. But it's worth a lot, and people eye it very happily. I can do this, but with your company, so that people look at it and go, do you know what Four Guys Ventures and Vibes is worth? Neither do I, but it's worth a lot. And that's the conversation that we will have with our peers.
Are you classically trained?
Classically trained. I'm modernically trained. I'm every kind of trained. I've even been on trains.
Wow, very
Yes.
interesting.
I mean, as long as you can manage the money, I'm happy with that.
As long as you don't literally lose track of how much we're worth, that sounds great.
Well, that's what the books are for. The books always know.
Yes, and you keep those books,
Right,
right?
and
Like,
so I would
you're in
reference them
charge
if
of
I
them.
needed to. Yes, yes, that's how that would
Perfect.
work.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure
There
that
is
you
the
didn't
question-
think the books kept themselves.
There is the question here of how much we're going to start with, and he shows you that the top of his books is blank. We haven't really decided what our initial startup capital will be, but maybe that's a meeting for another time.
Perhaps.
Yes, another time, Joffrey.
Very well, very well. Call me
We'll do an
Joffrey.
inventory. We'll do an inventory and sort that all out.
Very good. And he bows before you, just like a Kurt Butler bow, not like anything else. And then he strolls out of the room.
What do you think?
He seemed a bit worryingly vague at first about how money works. But I think he'll do a good job. He seems quite serious.
I like his confidence, though.
He was the best man for the job.
Okay, I trust you.
Fox, who it's been probably 4 or 5 months now that you're meeting your company heads of departments. Fox is still sorting out his argument with Willow, so he's not in this business meeting. But his hire for head of marketing strolls in. Hey, I'm Marcy. She is a Sapiter, and she's got a cigar hanging out of one mouth. She's got a cigar hanging out of the side of her mouth and another cigar in like one of her sort of spare legs, like she's holding a spare cigar. And
Are they both lit?
But yeah, they're both lit. She's alternating between the two of them. He goes, "Hey, Marcy, what can I do for you?"
Are you the head of marketing?
I am.
What's your marketing experience?
Well, I know how to talk to people when they're not being compliant, you know. You got to understand, as a Zapata, you know, I've got 792 children. So I've kind of been through all of it as we go through, you know, the different ways of raising children and different challenges. And it turns out that grown adults are just more children.
Do you have any suggestions for the business when you first saw it? Or like now, like right now, would you?
The first
you
thing we got to do, honey, is fix your image. I mean, your name's being dragged through the mud out there. I don't know if you realize this, but like nobody respects Four Guys, Ventures, and Vibes at the moment. And the people who haven't heard of you, they're like a blank canvas right out to the east. But you're here in central Urida, and we got to handle this before we go anywhere else. So what we're going to do, she takes another puff of her cigar, then switches to the other cigar and takes a puff of that one too. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by making the people love you. Okay, we're going to keep prices low. We're going to keep returns high. And from the other room, you hear Jeffrey go, I'm not so sure about. And then what we're going to do is once they love you, right? Once they love you, then they're all going to come back to you for business. And we're going to start driving rivals out of business. And suddenly her whole visage gets cold forcibly. And when their doors are shut and we have the monopoly, we'll do whatever we want with our prices. And that's how it works, honey.
Well, I could definitely see Fox's influence in him picking you. It's good to have you on board.
Let's try not to resort to violence so quickly.
All's fair in marketing. I think that's a saying.
I have a question for you, Marcy.
Yeah.
2 circles, 1 yellow, 1 green, and there's a line that connects both of them. How would you sell that to me?
2 circles, 1 yellow, 1 green. Does it matter which one is yellow and green to you? Like, is this okay? So I got.
You make it pretty. You sell me this.
All right. All right. So let's take a look at your life right now. Okay. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Okay. Because here you are. How old are you, sir? How old are you right now?
Yes, I am.
How old are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. You are. That's right. You are. And because you're that old, you look at you. I mean, you're standing around with a bunch of other dudes trying to start up a company like some kind of midlife crisis. Now, what you need is some stability, something to rely on. You know what I mean? You need something that you can look to and be like, this is security, right? This is what's going to get me through no matter what else happens. And so what I have here for you is a revolutionary product, okay? Courtesy of Four Guys, Ventures, and Vibes. You know, we're revolutionary in our products. You want to heard of this anywhere else yet, okay? Now take a look at this. And she holds up a like a small wooden scratch tablet on which she has somehow even colored in like a yellow circle and a green circle, and they're connected. You see this? You see this right here? This is a map, okay? You're in this yellow zone right here. And in order to get you to safety, to get you to safe passage to this green zone, there's only one path you can take, okay?
Why didn't I think of that?
That one path you can take, very simple. It's an investment opportunity, okay? So what you're going to do is you're not going to have to do any work. You're going to get to do whatever you want. You know, think of something you like right now. Just put it, you don't need to tell me what it is. It doesn't matter. Put it in your head. Think about that thing. You got that thing you love.
And lemonade.
You're going to be doing that while we're busy making you money on your money, okay? Because right now, this isn't just your life. This is your finances. You're in the yellow zone. You know, we're worried about stuff. So what you're going to do is you're going to just invest just a little bit of money in Four Guys, Ventures, and Vibes.
Get to that money zone.
Yep. And what we're going to do with that little bit of money from you, what we're going to do with it is we're going to take that money and use it on a dungeon delve, okay? Because what we are ultimately is dungeon delvers. So we're going to use that on things like rope. We're going to use it on things like packs, you know, boring stuff, you know, stuff that costs little bits of money. But when we get down in that dungeon, your little investment is going to help our team search that dungeon and empty it, okay? By the time we're done, we're talking priceless gems. We're talking magic items from before the darkening. We're talking all kinds of stuff like that. And what we do with those items, we bring them back, and then we go to our investors like you, and we say, hey, would you rather have this magic item, which is pretty ballin', or would you like us, and she takes a sip of a puff of her cigar, or would you like us to sell this and give you a 10,000% return on your
I mean,
investment?
that's what I want.
Right? All you got to do is sign up for our yellow circle, green circle plan. And she holds it out to you with a signature line on it.
Alan, I think I'm out of the business. I need to sign. I need to buy with what she's got. Where's that money? I want 4 of these.
Technically, we're the owners and operators of that, so you've invested probably the most of all of us.
Jeffrey's voice rings in from the next room again. Technically, you haven't invested anything yet.
Well,
it would really be better
Not
if you
now,
had
Jeffrey.
invested something.
Jeb shakes his head and he like snaps out of it. He's like, "Whoa, you got me in a spell there. Wow, I'm sold."
You're double hired.
Yeah, you are. And she leaves the tablet with you and like pats you on the shoulder. You
Jeb's
remember
just
that.
staring at it. Yeah. This is it.
All right, you need anything else or can I go get to work?
You can get to work.
Yeah, I can. And she strolls out of the room.
Wait, what?
You hear her swearing to herself in Scritch, and then she eventually comes out of Scritch and goes, freaking meetings when I could be freaking marketing, freaking. And then she goes back into Sapiter and swears a bit more. That, by the way, is an actual personality trait of her. She speaks Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Orcish, and Draconic fluently, but always reverts to Scritch when she swears. Like, it's just like
funny.
always a thing.
Nice.
Guess we got to learn some Scritch.
Or not. Okay, so you're waiting for the last person to come into the room, but they don't. They're still like outside in the other room, I guess. They're just not in here.
Hey, yeah. She was supposed to be in here. Saying I'm gonna like poke my head out the door and just like open the door and then knock on it to like make a little bit of commotion.
You open the door and knock on it, and as the door swings open, you see this like fiery businesswoman in a power suit holding a like an the auto ferret by the neck going, you tell him that if he doesn't get his butt into work on time next week on Monday morning, I'm telling you he's done. We haven't even started this company yet and he's been late twice. That is unacceptable. Okay, now you tell him that. And the ferret, of course, being just like an automaton, just is like, and then turns around and skitters off. And then she pulls out a pad of paper from her pocket and starts scribbling stuff down frantically. And then she goes, huh, did someone say something? She turns around. Oh, is it time for it's time for the meeting again, isn't it? Yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm coming. Sorry. Okay. And she strolls into the room looking just the teeniest bit flustered, but not like panic flustered, just like, wow, I have lots of work to do.
A little frizz in the hair.
Yeah, a little frizz in the hair. She's like, she's got a very practical bun. She's like, putting away her notes as she walks into the room and, kind of looking up at you. Hi, Zal. Short for Zalery. Don't call me Zalery. Nobody calls me Zalery. Just call me Zal. What can I do for you?
Who were you trying to summon, Zal, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I was just, reaching out to some of my other contacts to see if I can get a kind of base network set up for when we begin services.
Very forward of you.
Well, of course.
What is your background, Zal? Have you been in any similar positions like this before?
Oh yes, I ran a mercenary company, and they, if you can wrangle mercenaries, you can wrangle anybody. So, when old Jeb here came to me and asked if I could wrangle some dungeon delvers, I was like, come on, dungeon delvers. It's not like I'm asking them to go and die for someone they don't know. This is easy peasy. So this is gonna be a breeze. Trust me, I know how to get to the right people. I know how to get to them quickly, and I know how to get them into work.
Why'd you
works
leave
for
the
me.
mercenary company? Sounds like it was going well.
Because this is going to be easier, and we're going to make more money.
Fair
Good
enough.
for me.
Look, I am all about achievement, okay? One thing you can always expect from old Zal is 100 and then she kind of like nods off in front of you for a second.
Did this happen in the interview, Jeb?
Yeah, and I just like tug on the belt of her power suit.
110% every time from old Zal.
Is this a common occurrence?
Is what a common occurrence?
I just look at Jeb.
I'm just like, it's okay.
All right,
It's
man.
normal.
You're free to continue your business. I don't have any more questions. Alan?
No. I trust Jeb with this. I feel very confident in all of our hires.
Excellent. Well, then I'm going to go get back to work. See you on Monday. And she like walks out of the room. And as soon as she's like said, see you on Monday, you can see the retail smile goes away and she goes back to like, I'm about to lay into an employee mode. And she like walks back out and you hear, but she hasn't even made it to the ferret yet. And she goes, All right, now let's talk about Bill. She like grabs the thing, the door swings
Walking
shut behind her.
lockstep.
Yeah.
Could I summon
You don't need to summon me.
Oh,
I
it's
am
here.
already here. And yeah,
Okay.
it's just sitting cross-legged on the floor in the corner. You have
Well,
chosen some
Spins
interesting
around in the
employees.
chair.
Yeah, swivels around exactly.
As the base master, I figured you should, get to know them, and also if you had any questions for us about your role and responsibility, now would be a great time for you to ask us.
I feel confident that I understand my work. My job is primarily to coordinate the upkeep and maintenance of our facility and to make sure that our other heads of department are acting in accordance with the principles that you will presumably one day establish. Until then, I will just try to make sure that they are not losers.
Perfect.
One
Couldn't
thing
have
I
said it better
do need
myself.
one thing I do
Secure
need
the
clarity
W, protect
on.
from the L.
One thing I do need clarity on is whether you would like me to travel in the truck or whether you would like me to stay at the actual workplace facility. It seems to make more sense to me to be at the workplace facility and send you reports regularly.
Workplace facility makes more sense to me as well.
Excellent.
Definitely.
I have also taken note, Jeb, of your first company directive of secure the W and avoid the L.
Thank you.
Yep. With that in mind, do you have any ventures that you would like to begin? And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to explain, both as a reminder to you and so that chat knows for the first time, the way that Four Guys Ventures and Vibes is going to work. Because now that the business is established, the next thing that it's going to do is start operating. And basically, this happens in cycles. So you know how we've been doing tavern talks where we do like these kind of talk show episodes once a month? Well, now they will include a business update. So it will be basically in it whatever time it needs to be, but sort of kind of in step with the campaign. But they'll just be regular updates on the business ventures. And the way that this works is you, as the company heads, give directives. And a directive can be anything you dream up. What do you want the business to do? What do you want a specific department to do? Do you want marketing to try and find you dungeons to raid or get you access to an important person? Do you want services to go and complete side quests that are posted on notice boards? Do you want cool stuff to try and get you discounts on purchasing from a certain supplier or modify items in your inventory or stock a bunch of an item that you seem to go through a lot of? Should finance be thinning the workforce to increase your profits? Those kinds of things. You give a directive, what you want to achieve with your business. I will decide what that turns into as a venture. So based on your directive, there becomes a venture, and a venture has a length in days, it has an operating cost, it has a potential return based on the outcome you desire. So like it's not always money, but it will usually be financial. And it'll have a difficulty based on your company assets, your staff, and the surrounding world. And then using those, we will generate a result. Based on the success or the failure of your venture, stuff will happen. There will also be an intangible impact on reputation. And what I mean by that is I didn't want to make up rules or have systems we have to memorize around this, but I track your reputation by location. So like in Tumbleweb, for example, I have a thing that I call the popularometer. That's like a little mechanic. Maybe I'll talk about that in a tavern talk sometime, but it's just a way to figure out what's your notoriety and what's your fame in an area. And then if one of them outweighs the other, then you might find shops are closing their doors when you walk by, or you might find that people are running up to you and asking you for help because they trust you or stuff like that. So what your company does will have some impact on how that works everywhere. And then at the end of your venture, you will receive at the next business meeting, which will be during our tavern talks, a report. It'll just be a concise message that is delivered after the venture is completed and details its results. And they could trickle in throughout the month if they're relevant to like current story. Like, for example, we want to meet with this person who's relevant to the quest the four of us are doing, then that one might come in session. But if you just say, hey, go delve some dungeons and find cool things, then that one will just come in your regular like monthly meeting that you're getting from the company. So that's how it works. Easy peasy.
Cool.
So with that in mind, we jump back now. We zoom back into the Myconid, asking, do you have any initial directives? What would you like us to do?
Well, I'd like finance to determine the operating cost of current operations. So how much would adding a new employee cost up to, let's say, 10 employees for now, outside of the heads? So calculate their cost, then up to 10 and plus a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10 cost of that, so we can figure out how much we need to make in order to sustain that level of employment. Then obviously we need to start hiring people to dungeon delve and find dungeons to delve.
That does make sense. I would like cool stuff to start researching and developing any tools that could aid us in um, easy treasure collection, if that makes sense. So if our return to us and return to investors heavily relies on us being able to clear out a dungeon efficiently, especially if we can't hire as many employees as we may wish at the beginning. Investing in devices that allow us to transport treasure with as few amount of people as possible and yet carry an efficient amount of treasure may be extremely helpful.
Okay. Anything else?
Jeb, you have anything?
I think that I think we need to get what's her name? Val?
Zal?
Zal, thank you. Sorry.
You hired her.
Well, I mean, Jeb kind of pats the rod in his pocket. It's been a month. I want her to start hammering down a training regimen for these new employees, and just to get that workflow all ironed out ahead of time, so that when we when we hire folks, they can kind of hit the ground running with better efficiency. Processes and procedures. We need to get all that worked out.
Instill the company motto of secure the W, avoid the L.
Yep.
Very good. I will make sure it happens.
Thanks, yeah.
Anything else that you guys want to talk about as far as business things, questions you have about those, anything like that?
I do have a question, but it's more of a it might affect our business decisions actually. DM, while we have like a little bit of time and kind of like just puttering around our business place and doing stuff, can Jeb do some investigation to see how the cipher truck and its cipher components act, like how they behave while in the circumference of the weave?
Oh, that's very interesting. Sure, he can. Yes. Let me figure it out.
Okay. So yeah.
So okay,
I don't
go
know
ahead.
if it would end up like, so Jeb's expectations. He's thinking that that the spell is coded into the cipher, right? But maybe like there's still some like mechanical thing, like some arcane part of it that needs to operate. So he's kind of assuming that there might be like a reduced cost of consumption of Wingle digits, but I don't know. It's kind of like what he's hoping for.
So here's what you find initially, and then you can roll Arcana. Well, just roll the Arcana first, and I'll figure out how much to tell you based on that.
I am trained in that, so it's gonna be good. Roll
We
high.
hope.
Come on, roll high. That's an 11. That's not bad. So 20.
Okay. Wow, that is a good Arcana modifier.
Yeah, he's got a +9.
Yeah, dirty 20. You find that if you it is not the same shape, but if you kind of force the rod into the depression where you would normally insert Wingle digits, sometimes the cipher is kind of like spark to life. Like the effect begins, and then when you remove the rod, it stops. And from that, you can deduce that sort of what's happening is the cipher is a thing like an arcane focus that is meant to channel the weave. And so when you connect it to the weave, stuff happens. And then when you disconnect the weave from it, stuff stops happening. And so in the same, like normally, like your aura of weave, which is I guess the easiest way to describe what you have, your aura of weave allows other people to intentionally channel magic through it, right? So like they can bring a new focus into play. This thing is almost like that inverted. Like this is a ready-made focus that needs a weave to be inserted. And so the wingle digits are almost acting like a small weave. Like you've pushed a weave into the thing, which allows it to work because it's already focusing and doing the magic. Like you said, it's kind of coded in. So you're just pushing in a little bit of power to go through that. And it does not, like the rod does not reduce the cost because you still need to find a way to cram the weave into that teeny little spot to make it fit in the focus rather than tapping into the weave that's everywhere like a normal arcane thing would be.
So in my experimentation of this, could Jeb formulate a certain level shell, essentially a spell slot, and slam it into there, and then follow it with the weave, and like essentially cast the spell by using one of his spell slots and guiding it in with the rod?
That's really interesting. Let me think about that from a mechanical perspective. Let me answer you on that offline, and we'll talk about it in the next session.
Okay.
I didn't expect to get so heady into the way the world works tonight. And if I had known, I'd have drank some caffeine when we started streaming. So I was a little more here. Sorry about that.
Mechanically speaking, I think it would be like, I don't know if it would be, I'm not going to bargain with you. Like you said, you figure it out. But
yeah,
for it to not only cost a spell slot, but also to like negate the weave aura in exchange for activating this thing, I think is maybe a decent trade-off mechanically speaking.
So what you're trying to do is like channel the weave almost, like you're trying to basically take this weave and shrink it back down like what a wingle digit does?
Well, I'm just trying to activate the device without wingle digits, and if the rod like provides the means for magic to flow into the cipher and power it, but it still needs the magic, then it would stand to reason that Jeb could dump a spell slot shell into it to provide the fuel for it. So like the rod might act as like a lightning rod, and then he could funnel magic down into it that would then run across the spell coded in the cipher and activate it.
Got it. I'm going to think about that, and I will give you a clear answer for the next time that we're live. Cool. But it's a cool idea. Anything else we want to talk about? Chat, do you have any questions?
That would also be limited by the spell slots that Jeb has available. Like we've got that Magnificent Mansion spell slot on there, but that's like an 8th level or like a 7th level spell. So like Jeb wouldn't even be able to touch that.
That's true. Yeah. So chat, what they're talking about right now is we've talked about installing some like cool magic-y mods on the Cypher truck, and I gave them a price list, but they never quite landed on which things they wanted. Chat wants to know if Marcy is single. Marcy is a single mom of 792.
Oof. Life lessons, y'all. Life lessons.
They're twins. No, I'm just kidding. Because like spiders lay all their eggs at once. So what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to talk about the Cypher truck. So they've talked about like installing cool magic-y things on the Cypher truck, but didn't quite land on which ones they wanted.
I thought we did for some reason.
I was gonna say I thought we did too.
I asked like, can you confirm that you? And I gave you I read the list back to you, and I don't think anyone replied to that.
Well, yes, my answer now is yes.
We'll jump back in there and figure that out over the next couple of days. We'll have that for Monday as well. I think chat. This is not something I anticipated happening with chat here. That's well, anyway, on that note, I think I'm going to call our session for the day to a close. And this will be a podcast episode that comes out on Friday. And then next week we'll be back into the normal flow of what you've been getting on Spotify. But I think, if I remember correctly, I think Wash has made his delve available on YouTube. Is that right?
haven't put up the final episode, but yes, if you guys do want to find out more about the Sepiders, Belly Savalas played one in our dungeon delve, and
I think that's
check
the
out.
meta commentary that's happening
Yeah.
right now about being attracted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So find out more about the Sepiders over there. I should have. Work's been crazy right now, man. But once things cool down, I do plan to have the last and final episode up on there. It was
a fun time.
Oh man, I got a little teary towards the end. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie. I'm not
It
gonna
was
lie.
really good.
I caught
I'm-
literally only the end, but it was very good.
That's the important part.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you guys
Very
had
true.
fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Well, it's already 10, so maybe we shouldn't. I guess it's up to you guys. Do you want to talk a little bit about that delve and how it went and like highlights and stuff, or should we just call it for the night?
It was
I'd be
fun.
down for a little. I'd be down
Yeah,
for a
we
little
could
chatting.
do a little recap.
Yeah, let's do a little mini tavern talk here. It's bonus night, right? Bonus content
Yeah.
night. So
And the mood is right.
I would like to know, as someone who didn't get to watch most of it, I would love to know what each of you felt were the like kind of the advantages of like the alternate style of play. Like this was a delve. What was fun about getting to do a delve versus the normal kind of narrative focused stuff that we do?
There was a certain aspect of it that was fun because the primary focus was the kind of the crunchy element of we have an objective, and the objective is simply get to the bottom level, and B, we're mostly focusing on, can we win this encounter? Is it efficient to win this encounter? And if not, how do we run? And so that was fun because that was the main focus, but then all of the character centric moments felt like bonuses that were just like unexpected and fun. And like, oh wow, that was unexpected and cool. So whenever our characters had like sweet moments, or like whenever something kind of came back full circle with like something we mentioned about our character beforehand, and then it eventually came back, it was almost like the focus wasn't on role playing, but because of that, the great role playing moments, the blah blah blah. The focus wasn't on the role playing, but that made when the great role playing moments happen, they were like more special. But I think that's because we were in a great group that like wanted to role play, even though that didn't have to be the focus.
Yeah, I'll say it was really interesting the way we did stats.
Yes.
I ended up with the worst bard in the world who had I think it was like a 6 charisma score.
Yeah.
He had a -2 to all of his ability checks, so that ruined a lot of my spell casting. But it was
Dang.
still a lot of fun. I
It
would
didn't
have
stop you
liked.
either.
I didn't.
you-
I
Yeah,
still
you
tried.
were rolling so well the last day that it didn't matter.
Yeah. But it's really interesting because I'm used to playing where like you're exploring a dungeon, you're just trying to like get through like the whole dungeon, you explore every nook and cranny, you fight everything. But this, it was just like we're getting to the bottom as quickly as we can. Like screw the rest of this dungeon. And that was like really interesting gameplay wise of just navigating this dungeon, which we had a crude map for, and trying to avoid as much as we could.
I remember getting I sent Wash a message on Discord, and I was just like, hey, how are things going? You know, I was just like on the Wi-Fi at my hotel or whatever. And Wash was like, well, they sprinted through 5 floors of my dungeon. Like, I don't know what's going to happen when they fight the next thing because they sprinted through 5 floors of the dungeon.
They didn't level up at all.
We leveled up once.
That's apparently like a trademark thing for us because you guys skipped a whole dungeon when you leapt off that cave edge as well.
Mhm.
We're just all about efficiency here at Winged Badger Tavern. So, no, yeah, it was just really fun, and also it was really fun to play with Chris, who I had played with before, but it was a surprise, and I hope he's still watching. It was a surprising delight to play with Belly. He was like so fun. He played
That was
his
great.
spider character so well.
That's awesome.
He was very committed to the bit of his character, and it was
Oh,
just,
yeah.
it was great.
Love that.
Yeah, Josh, you definitely need to go back and watch them, if anything, for the Sepider lore that you
Yeah.
built out with.
Yeah, he did a good
with
job
Belly.
having like yeah.
I fully intend to watch all of them, and I'm excited to see how it went. I just wasn't able to do it before tonight, but I definitely plan
yeah.
to go back and catch up on all that stuff.
For sure.
It's also really weird because like I think the first session was like really slow. Like we barely got through any of it. It was just sort of
Yeah.
us doing a little bit of exploring and figuring each other out. The second session we picked it up a bit, but we got down like one or two floors, and then the last session was just the rest of the dungeon.
No, I thought it was the second because here. Okay, here's what did we do? 3 sessions or 4?
So
Oh, we
Jake,
did.
you were gone one session, and the
That's
one
right.
session that you were gone, they went down like 4 floors,
That was the
4 or
3rd
5
session,
floors.
right? Because
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
4 total. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was like first session was slow. Second session was like medium. Third session when I was gone was just boom. And then fourth was just
Was
like
finale.
mostly story. Like there was some
Yeah.
combat at the
Yeah.
beginning, but yeah.
Wash,
good.
what
Yeah,
was like a? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What was like a? I was just gonna ask, what was like a proud DM moment for you in the game, if you had one that was like, oh, I'm just so impressed or pleased, or that was so unexpected, or whatever. Just like, what was a like happy DM moment?
I was really proud of them, the ending that they did, like when they kind of started to put 2 and 2 together and recognize where they were and what was going on, and then they really like leaned into it really hard. Also, one of the things that I've noticed about doing this dungeon delve is that even though it is like a very mechanics heavy dungeon crawl, story still finds a way to emerge. And I know that Jake and Trevor and Belly are really good with role play. I know Chris really likes role play, but he also like he lives for mechanics. But even though you guys really do like role play and you pulled out some really cool RP moments, I think there's something to the secluded nature of a delve that just draws that out. I've played this with other players that are not very role play heavy, and it still happened. It's just a matter of like it forces you to like discover your character on the way, and it's like a blank slate, and you don't know what's around the corner in the dungeon, and you don't know what's around the corner for your character either. And it's always fun to run the same thing again and see how other people draw
Yeah.
a story out of it.
Yeah.
And that's I really enjoyed what you guys brought to the delve.
Love that.
I think there's a Gary Gygax kind of quote that goes along those similar lines of like you just give the players like a playground that's and then that's where it all comes from. That's where it all emerges from.
Wash, what was it like DMing for Jake and Trevor?
It was so easy. Oh, you guys make storytelling so easy. So easy.
We try.
Yes.
Actually,
was
no.
interesting-
We try to make it difficult, but we're bad at it. Like we want to make this Wash's worst experience ever, but we're so bad at that we actually made it your best.
I mean, I guess from we ran a dungeon perspective, it was probably pretty bad.
I mean, that was the goal, and we had a limited
Yeah.
amount of time. Like I
Yeah.
knew there was going to be pushing through. Like that didn't upset me at all.
Yeah.
I was interesting, I will say, to see you guys play with a map, like a battle grid. Because we're just not used to playing that way over here, and it definitely does like affect you where you're like, oh, what's in that corner over there, or like, oh,
Yeah.
what's this over here.
Sure.
It definitely is a different style of play. And
I
it
used
has its
to
uses.
in high school. I would play with a battle mat. Like it was I have it stored in my closet up here still.
Yep.
Because I haven't used it in forever. But like we did a physical map with we had those Pathfinder pawns. You know what I'm talking about? So not like fully painted minis, but that sort of stuff. And
Ooh.
that was really fun. And that kind of doing another thing like that kind of took me back to that a little bit. I also did a couple Roll20 campaigns a couple of years ago, like during COVID especially. But it felt good to kind of be back in that. I'm in a lot of ways I'm glad that we're doing Theater of the Mind for the most part for this campaign, because I enjoy both in different ways. But yeah, it was fun to do an Albert Rodeo thing.
If I had it my way, I would convert my dining room table into a D&D table and just have
Heck yeah.
shelves of minis all along the walls. But alas, I am married.
You got to build the D&D cave.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the dream. I got to kick some of these kids out and take their room and turn it into a
There you
D&D
go.
cave.
Yeah.
My wife's like, I'm gonna make a sewing room, and I'm like,
You're like, I'm sewing as well, sewing a story.
That's right.
Ooh, got him.
Yeah.
Sowing
Got
seeds
'em.
of lore.
What is something that you're like, I guess what was something about going through the delve? This is for Jake and Trevor. This is the question for Jake and Trevor.
Okay.
like we're at a con panel.
Yes,
what-
you in the back for
yeah.
Jake and Trevor. What was
yeah.
it?
What was something about going through the delve that you're gonna take, if there is anything that you're gonna take back to when you're playing your other character? Like, is there anything that you came across or a challenge that you experienced? You're like, wow, I'm gonna do this differently all the time because this way was really cool.
I found, and this is just, yeah, I guess this answers that question. Especially the last session, I found that when I was reminding myself of the emotional backstory of my character, I found myself connecting with my character overall better. There was a whole aspect of like he had this like ornate dwarven brooch that was given to him by his long lost love that he met on in a harbor town, but alas, he had to sail away. And like Wash asked a good question about like what's something that's valuable to your character or something like that at the beginning of the session. And so like saying that out loud and like reminding myself of it, and then it like came full circle by the end of the session. Like that was like a good reminder. It like helped me stay in the mindset of the character more.
Yeah, in the same vein, I think just sort of remembering about the characters' motivations and like why they're doing what they're doing, I think is and what they care about in any like big decision point and even in small decision point. But that helps a lot with connecting to the characters and reminding yourself what they would do versus what you're doing because obviously sometimes we bleed into our character or like what we know is in.
And I think being connected to that like motivation for your character, like that's huge for the role playing part of it. Like otherwise you're just playing, right? Which is fine for some circumstances, but like if you want to really be role playing, then you have to like you almost have to sort of blank out the you part and like make yourself want those things, you know?
Mhm.
So
It's like acting.
it is acting, I think.
Whoa.
I would go that
Crazy.
far.
Acting.
You are all actors.
And
Tell you one
scene.
thing that I am super excited for is to not have to run 2 D&D campaigns again. I am very much have learned that I am content with running one big campaign and playing in another. That is like 1.5 games of each, and I am two is too much. 2 is way too much for me.
Well,
That's
I
fair.
am
That's my
very
limit.
pleased that you are sticking with us as a player. So,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Got one
Yes,
of the
we
rods
are.
of 7 parts.
No, I'm just
Come
kidding.
on.
you are a welcome addition to our table.
Gotta save my daughter's soul.
That's right, dude. You gotta save your daughter's soul.
True. But also, who doesn't really in life?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have to save their daughter's soul?
Yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't go through that at some point?
Yeah.
You know, we've
This is
been there.
common parenting.
Been there.
How to save your daughter's soul in 7 easy steps.
What's
And 7
something
easy parts.
What's something cool about your character's internal growth that you're hoping to get a chance to explore this season?
Oh.
I've been thinking about this and thinking about it less in like what facet I want to explore and more of like what facet I want to conclude. I think that in character development, it's hard to keep a lot of the parts of your character like in line and in your head. And so you almost need to like resolve some stuff and then you can like bring in some new stuff. You know, like we're kind of bringing in some new stuff of like what are our characters like as bosses in a company. That's a new like how they work with underlings and keep this ship afloat. That's going to be a new thing to kind of explore for our characters. But I kind of want to wrap up some old parts of Jeb and to kind of make room for that. kind of move on from one phase of life into the next. I'd really like for I feel like he's going. I'm going to try and explore and wrap up his more, maybe not completely, but like his more immature roots, his more shoot from the hip type thing. I think he's feeling like, especially with this weight of people that have died and can't move on, like he's got this responsibility on him now, and literally having a business that its goal and end is the, like the hope of the world essentially at this point. But I feel like he's needing to put on some of his, the big business pants, like the big boy pants. We need to kind of mature up a little bit, and there's probably going to be like a little bit of fighting against that Jeb impulsiveness, and it's going to kind of conflict a little bit. But I feel like it's time for him to grow up and mature a little bit.
That's fair. I think for Owlin, there's a lot to do with his past that like has been mentioned and has been used for some minor character development, but similar. I think I get the feeling that some of what's going to happen in this next arc is going to be similar for Jeb for what happened with, or similar to Owlin for what Jeb got to do this arc,
I'm
which
so
was
excited for Owlin's arc. Oh man,
which was a lot of like reconciling with his past and like seeing these people in real life and like the party kind of catching up on all of that sort of stuff. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to like delve deeper into the character and almost like get to know the character better, even though I've been playing this character this whole time.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
I don't know. It's so Zoth's big thing is reconnecting with Kelnor, obviously, but on a more micro level, probably trying to connect more with party. Talking with Jeb and Alan, who he hasn't established a close, like we haven't had those one-to-ones, heart to heart, I don't think, with each other. So maybe finding sort of when the time is right, obviously not forcing it, but like when those moments come up, sort of taking that opportunity to do so. But yeah, I think he's still like just vibing, really.
Fair enough.
I'm
What
excited.
about you, Matt? What do you think was in the store for Fox in the future? Oh man, why'd you have to call me out on it like that, man? that's just not fair. What'd you do to me like that for?
Wow,
Well,
that
you
was
know, I
so
just gotta-
believable.
Yeah, that was a really good Matt impression, actually.
What were you gonna say, Josh?
It's like he's here in the room. I was just gonna say I'm excited to try a couple of things that I've been learning about. So while I was overseas in England, there's a really cool bookstore that I got to go to in Cambridge, and they had a whole section on like literally it's called collaborative storytelling. Like the part of RPGs that when I describe D&D to people, I say it's collaborative storytelling. They had a whole section of books about that. So I got one of those just to see what like other people are saying. And there were some really cool like prompts and exercises and ways to approach things. And I'm excited to try and implement some of those and also to sort of challenge you guys with some of them. I won't keep you in suspense. Here's the one I'm most excited about. Think about scenes as a collective where, and a good example of this is really easy in D&D because everyone's a different class. So like, let's say Owlin walks into a room and notices a detail, but Zoth is also in the room and Owlin thinks it's divine magic and not arcane or artificer magic. Instead of saying, I'd like to roll, Arcana or whatever and try and solve it yourself, you could point out the detail you found and say, hey, Zoth, take a look at this. Does this look religious to you? And now what you've done is you've set up Zoth to have a hero moment of his own. And so that's one that I'm kind of hoping to push you guys into doing just to help make it more of a cohesive experience from a party standpoint. Like now you guys have been traveling together. The party has a dynamic. We're skipping ahead 5, 6, 7 months. But then for me, I'm hoping to turn my settings into characters more. That's something that I've sort of always had this idea about in my head, but never really had words to put to it. And I was like, there was a whole chapter on it in this book. So the prompt they put me through was create a room that has enough space for 8 people to sit comfortably. Tell me what kind of lighting's in the room and give me one feature of the room that people might interact with. And then they said, now modify those things to reflect different scenes. So like they had, do one for a chase scene, do a version for a fight scene, do a version for a rest scene. And so you have the same room. So like the one I made is a break room, right? It's like a company break room with a table in it. And there are some really old beat up couches along the walls. It's lit by fluorescent lights in the ceiling, just like generic work lights in the ceiling. Then they said, okay, change it for these different things. So for a chase scene, if you bust into the break room, the way that I might narrate that room is I might say the harsh green fluorescents of the room are blinding to you and you can't take in the details immediately. So as you look through the room, the beat up couches seem like, that they're just in your way. There's something you can hurdle, versus if you're trying to narrate a peaceful resting scene, you might talk about the smell of donuts and the way that the lights are, a bright, inviting light. Or if it's a fight scene, it might be that the fluorescent lights, maybe one of the bulbs is out. And so now the fluorescent lights are flickering and so you're using them as a character to help illustrate what the scene is. And I'm really excited to try and work that into just the way that I narrate and the way I do exposition. I've been listening back to our older streams and finding just pieces of my technique that I like and don't like. And one thing I don't like is I often narrate the same room 3 or 4 different ways, but they're all the same way. I'm just saying it again. When what I'm trying to get across is like using the scene as a character, but instead I'm just changing the tone of my voice or the inflection of my voice and saying the same things. I'm like, I hate that. That's so boring to listen to. And so this will hopefully be an opportunity for me to do it better. So that's something I'm excited to try. Cool. Is kind of working on that and just kind of pushing us. There are also some great improv exercises to help, which I was thinking maybe we could do as little warm-ups before we start. They're just like little 1, 2, 5 minute exercises.
I would be totally down for doing a warm-up before we, like while the clock is counting down.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like during that 10-minute countdown, that could be fun to do. So anyway, those are things that I'm excited about. I'm looking forward to season 2. I got to plan it from on top of the tallest and oldest castle in England, and that was pretty dope. And it, I think it's going to be really good. I have some cool ideas for things to trials to put you through. I mean, stories to explore. Who said that?
I have some great ideas for ways to make you suffer. I mean, experience the wonders of Urida.
Ways to make you suffer. I mean, gain experience.
Nice.
And to see those, I think you'll have to come back next week. Because I think tonight's little mini session bonus content, I think it might be coming to a close here, chat.
Whoa.
I think so.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you, Belly. Always a pleasure to have you. I'm glad you got to play as a Piter. I'm a little weirded out by the chat flirting with one of my NPCs, but we're gonna move past it. We're gonna get through it. Wash, when can people see you next?
Next up, wow, it's Wednesday. I don't normally stream on Wednesday. Next up is going to be Saturday. We're painting minis.
Nice.
Got some big boys and some big girls that we need to paint up.
And the next time you can see us is Monday when I try my darndest to kill the party on the first session of the new season. Just kidding.
Whoa.
When we kick off season 2 of the Winged Badger Tavern.
We have the power of friendship.
That's right. You do.
Business.
Yeah.
And God and anime.
Friendship, God, anime, and business. What could possibly go wrong? Until then, from all of us here at the Winged Badger Tavern, what do we tell the people, Trevor?
GG and GN.
Bye, friends.